Hey guys, so I feel like I've let my patrons down lately, the people that support us over on Patreon. I haven't really called them out any recently, but more and more people are signing up to support the show and podcast, which I really appreciate, you guys. And about 3 months ago, I asked for people over on Patreon that support us to submit your questions, and then I would answer them in a future podcast episode. I actually recorded. It was about an hour long too. Once I got done with it, I recorded a podcast, and I'm not sure what happened, but sometime in between me recording it to like getting it uploaded, the file got deleted. I know that's a really dumb reason, but that's just what happened, and that's why it never happened, and it's been really hard to find time, all those excuses. I'm really sorry. So I wanted just to do a Q&A episode here in video format where I would answer y'all's questions. Sorry this has taken so long. If you want your questions answered, head over to patreon.com, look for Milsurp World, and you can submit your questions on there. So to start out, Ryan Garr says, not really a question, but a suggestion. I think it would be awesome if you hosted an online Milsurp match on the YouTube channel. Simple, honor-based, no prizes, just for fun. Something like this. Quote, place an index card at 50 yards, fire 5 rounds standing, 5 rounds kneeling, and 5 rounds prone with a Milsurp rifle of your choice. Count hits for total score. Give the participants a deadline to email you a picture of their target with their name, score, and what rifle they used. Then you can film yourself doing the match, roll in the photos of the viewers, scores, and announce a winner. Each month you could change the course of fire or the target. You could also suggest something like, this month use your oldest Milsurp. No hard rules though. That way if all someone has is a Mosin or an SKS, they could still participate. I don't know about everyone else, but I don't have any friends into Milsurps and no matches around my area or anything like that. It would be fun to participate in something like this. Maybe no one would be into it, but it would be awesome if you tried. Keep up all the great work. Thanks, Ryan. That is a really good suggestion. It seems pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It seems like anything anyone could do, no matter their age or disability or what rifle they own. So I really like the idea of it. Unfortunately, I don't go shooting every month. I'm kind of limited with the ranges that are around here. So I live in Kansas City, and there's not a whole, the public ranges aren't super great with the rules. So it's hard for me to shoot. I have to shoot on friends' land. That's nothing I get to do as often as I would like to do. But I would definitely like to do something like this in the future. Maybe if the channel gets a little bit bigger, or if I can secure a shooting area that I can shoot at pretty regularly. I have a friend who just bought some land, and that might turn into a thing, so I'm going to find out about that in the future. So thanks, Ryan. I'm going to stick that in my back pocket, and we might come back to that later. Heine Sauerkraut, fantastic name, says, in a fictional zombie apocalypse event, in that you only have access to your Milsurp collection, which rifle, pistol, knife/bayonet would you choose to bug out? Maybe a stupid question, but at least a question. It's a great question. It's pretty cool to think of. So when it comes to any sort of cataclysmic event or what have you, semi-automatic is always going to be better than bolt action. So 99 times out of 100, semi-automatic is going to be better, unless you have something like a G41M or something like that, But I would have to say I'd have to pick from one of my semi-autos. If I still owned an M1 carbine, I would go with that. But I think I'm going to go with my M1 rifle instead. It's not the perfect answer. Let's say if I had to pick a bolt action, if I couldn't pick any semi-autos, I think I would pick this guy right here, the Swedish M9414, and then I would get the M9414 bayonet. That way I could, you could stick it. So it's a light, handy rifle. It's in 6.5, which is plenty powerful, and you could stick a bayonet on it, and if a zombie's coming at you, you could stab it or whatever. I think that would be my a pretty good bolt action loadout. I would say about near perfect that I can think of. Pistol would be the Browning High Power. The Browning High Power is probably the best semi-automatic pistol up until like maybe the 70s or something. Like, it was just it's a really solid choice. Definitely, you know, in World War II, it was the best, you know, the best handgun out there. So that would be, I think that would be my choice. The M1 rifle with the high power, or if I had to pick a bolt action, Swedish 9414 with the bayonet for it, and the Browning high power. Second question, what is your favorite Milsurp caliber to shoot? Pretty much whatever I have the most of. If I have a lot of that caliber, I don't really feel bad about shooting it, and I'm more likely to go out and actually shoot. So I'd probably say like something I had a pretty large stockpile of, like 7mm Mauser, which is, funny enough, probably would be one of my top calibers that I would pick to shoot. Not just because I have a lot of it. It's pretty easy to get as well. Like, you can, you know, find boxes at Cabela's or whatever, and it's not going to tear up your shoulder if you shoot a lot all day. I tend to shoot bolt-action rifles, you know, pretty exclusively, just because I think they're a little bit more fun than semi-automatics. So probably something a little bit along the lines of like intermediate calibers, so like the 6.5s and 7mm Mauser, stuff like that. Follow-up question from Ryan Garr. I cast bullets, and I'm going to try loading some gallery loads for Milsurp rifles using light charges of pistol powder, probably unique. I think it would make shooting them a lot more pleasant for kids and my girlfriend. Do you have any experience with this? A little bit. Back when I reloaded a lot more, I dabbled in reloading light rounds, not so much for recoil reduction, but I was trying to get like just below, you know, the speed of sound, so that the bullets, you know, would be more quiet whenever I would shoot them. But it worked out most of the time. It was pretty nice. Like, you have the benefit of saving money on powder, you know, reloading light rounds like that. You know, if you're reloading to shoot with your kid or girlfriend, if the recoil is a lot more pleasant for them, they're a lot more likely to like it. So I think that's a pretty huge plus. You know, you don't want to hand your girlfriend a gun or a caliber that is just gonna, you know, it's gonna beat her to death. There's a million videos of like, you know, rednecks handing their girlfriends like a shotgun and, like, you know, blasting them backwards, and it's really tasteless. I definitely like the idea of loading light rounds. You know, get them into shooting. You know, let them. I mean, for you, honestly, it would be the best thing is if you could get your girlfriend into, you know, Milsurps. That's what I really tried hard to do with when I first met my wife. You know, we went shooting and everything, and she's kind of into them. So at the very least, you want her to be okay with it, and you want her to get some enjoyment out of going out and shooting with you. So, I mean, I love the idea of it. I say definitely go for it. You know, I don't think it's going to be that hard to do it. You know, just cut the powder load in half or something, and you know, take it from there. Jared Kennedy asks, what new Milsurps have you bought? Now, you asked that 3 months ago, which was a totally different answer than now. My latest one, I just posted it on my Instagram account, so you can see it on there, but it's a lot of people call it, so it's a Steyr Hahn, you know, in 1912, but it was updated by the Germans around World War II to chamber 9mm Luger. So a lot of people call it the Steyr Hahn P08, but the German designation for it was Pistol 12 with the O for Österreich, you know, Austria. That's my latest purchase. Let's see, a Viz 35 before that. I've been getting into pistols a lot more lately. If you guys have watched me for a while, you know I mainly get rifles, but I've been picking up more and more pistols lately. The next one I have my sights on is it's a German marked FN 1922, which I think is a pretty cool pistol. Don't know why I'm getting more into pistols now, but that's the latest Milsurps that I got. What other rifles have you restored or rebuilt? Sporterized rifles, I've restored 2 that I can think of. One I documented kind of with the video on the G43, but the other one I didn't show is I have it's an 1895 Mauser Obendorf made Swedish 94 carbine. Now it's just a 94. It's not an upgraded 94-14 carbine. So that gun I found at this little gun shop in Washington State. The price was really good because they didn't know what it was. So I walked out with it, but it needed a new stock and new hardware. So I found a pretty good deal, I think on eBay, for a new stock. And I put that on the gun. It restored it to what it originally should be. But I don't have a whole lot of pictures of that. There could be some guns like that you buy, to restore, and then you're just, stuck with maybe a gun that you paid a little bit too much for because you're hoping to restore it on the cheap. You kind of have to be careful with that, and I've tended to not do that unless I really know ahead of time what I'm getting into. And I didn't actually know what I was getting into exactly when I got that G43, or it's K43 technically, but I didn't know what I was getting into because I bought that gun about 6 years ago. I bought that K43 about 6 years ago, and it took me a solid 5 years before I got all the I got all the parts and stuff like that. And a lot of that was reluctancy in buying the stock, because I bought a stock from Fox Militaria, and that stock cost about like $450, something like that. It is not cheap, I mean, you can buy a gun with that money, and that's sort of what I did. Anytime I had about, $400 or $500 to buy a stock, I tended to buy another gun instead. So that's another thing you'll run into. So everybody watching this, beware if you're looking at restoring a gun. Thank you to our patrons. If it wasn't for the people that sign up to support us on Patreon, the podcasts wouldn't be out there for everyone to listen to, and we wouldn't even honestly be thinking about doing any more in the future if it wasn't for you guys. So I know it's been a while since we've done a real fresh one, but thank you guys for supporting us. It just wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the patrons. So thank you, and if you subscribe to the channel, thank you too. That means a lot to me as well, just subscribing to the channel. So thank you. This is Lily. If you watch the ammo video, the how I fixed my ammo situation, or whatever I named that video, you've seen the ammo video. You've seen her when we first got her. Now she's like 7 months. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.